Hello everyone, I'm Shalika De Silva. On behalf of Samadhi Buddhist Foundation, I'd like to welcome all of you to our first Clarity of Mind through Mindfulness session of 2026. Today our topic is The Woman of the Home, which is another chapter from Bhikkhu Bodhi's book In the Buddha's Words. With great respect, I'd like to invite Most Venerable Panadure Chandaratana Thero to commence today's session. Thero Sarna Bhante.
Everyone, Sannai, so first of all, we'll spend few minutes spending some time in being mindful and developing fair amount of body related mindfulness at first. So that will help us to ground well. So I invite all of you to sit comfortably. So basically, now we are settling ourselves, calming down ourselves, relaxing. Keep your head straight, neck also straight, shoulders relaxed, arms resting, upper half of the body also straight, and you can keep eyes gently closed. So basically, once we close our eyes, we probably feel fairly secluded, as our eyes is one cause for us to get distracted. Now we are calming down ourselves, relaxing ourselves, and settling ourselves to the present moment. So there could be various thoughts, memories related to the past. Don't encourage that. And similarly, there could be various projections, anticipations, hopes related to the future, and don't encourage that either. Again and again, bring your attention back to this sitting posture. So we are using this sitting posture as an anchor to the wandering mind. So how you feel? Are you able to recognize the sitting posture? So once we settle, probably you can slowly get connected with the body, and we are recognizing how this body is positioned. How is it oriented? So once we are slowly recognizing it, we may be able to understand, okay, this is where the head, where this is where the neck, this is how the shoulders being positioned, this is how hands are resting, this is how the upper half of the body being established. So we are slowly getting connected with the body. Use that as a mechanism to ground yourself. So forget about all your responsibilities. No need to think about the past. Similarly, no need to think about the future. And slowly establish mindfulness into the present moment. So I'm going to a slight body scan. You can follow me. Our eyes are gently closed, so there could be a very subtle sensation at our eyelids. Lips softly touching. There could be a soft sensation there as well. There are no wrinkles in our forehead. There are no any tension at our eyebrows. There is no tension in the facial muscles. And we are not making any thrust using our tongue. It's simply resting at its root. And if you like, you can have a slight smile as we are enjoying the present moment. It's a very relaxed, very calm, quite ordinary, a simple experience. So we are trying to enjoy, trying to appreciate this very pleasant present experience. Neck straight, shoulders relaxed, arms resting. There is no tension in the arms. Upper half of the body also straight. And probably you can recognize how clothes are touching the body. At certain place, it may be little tightness. At another place, it may be little bit of just the touching sensation, a rubbing sensation. So we are carefully recognizing how clothes are touching the body. Actually, we don't need to think to understand these touch sensations because they are so direct. So we are promoting this direct experience, not the imaginations, not the assumptions. Rather, we are promoting this direct touch. So as you are further connected with the body, probably you can feel that this body is breathing, heart vibrates. Here and there could be some aches and pains. And now we are trying to keep our attention at the nostril. So just allow the body to breathe naturally. Try to recognize each in breath, each out breath. So if your mind still wanders, you can use noting technique. So as you are breathing in, you can note it as in. As you are breathing out, you can note it as out. Quite simple, it's not a burden to the mind. Let the body breathe naturally, and we simply be aware of each in breath, each out breath. So as we are slowly establishing mindfulness, now you can start some refined observation, a little bit of investigation about the breathing process. See whether you can recognize where the in-breath touches. or where the out-breath touches. Compared to in-breath, whether the out-breath is cool or warm. From which nostril the in-breath goes in. From which nostril the out-breath comes out. Are we able to understand the beginning, the middle, the end of the in-breath? Are we able to understand the beginning, the middle, the end of the out-breath? So we are introducing some investigation. Very refined, fairly balanced kind of an investigation. We are not just glancing, rather we are penetratively looking at the process. So if you like, you can continue this practice further. Else you can switch to elements meditation or mindfulness on the feelings or mindfulness on the mind itself. And if you are capable of keeping your mind completely unattached without giving a particular object, keeping the mind fully in the open awareness, you can switch to that mode. Okay, now we are going to start the sermon today. Actually, as Shalika mentioned, today topic also was taken from Bhikkhu Bodhi's book, which is the Buddha's words, in the Buddha's words. So actually, Bhikkhu Bodhi has compiled it, particularly taking suttas, selecting suttas from the canon, the sutta, the what you call the Pali canon, the Sutta Pitaka. And today, this particular sutta is related to women, and they are lay women. And as you know that the Buddha hasn't forgot the lay people, so lay followers are many number even during the Buddha's time. So and when it is considered about women, so basically this particular sutta is available in the Anguttara Nikaya. There's a numerical discourses of the Buddha, and it's in Anguttara Nikaya Attaka Nipata. And the particular focus is on Visakha. Probably you have heard about Visakha. So she actually has built one monastery called Migaramatu Pasada. That means, literally means the Migara's mother's mansion. Actually, it's a synonym given for Visakha because she has become kind of a mother to her father-in-law. Actually, Migara is his father-in-law, her father-in-law. And because this Migara was a kind of a blind follower of other faith, and once Visakha has come to that house, so she was able to slowly convince Migara about the qualities of the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. And as a result of that, slowly Migara has become a follower of the Buddha. And ultimately, he was well established in the Buddha's dispensation. And later, he want to reward Visakha and also want to sort of give her kind of honorific title. So that's why she then was regarded as a mother to Migara, even though actually she is the daughter-in-law. But now he is considering Migara as a kind of a mother to him. So that's why Migara's mother is a kind of a name given to Visakha. And at this time, Buddha was dwelling at her place that built monastery, Vigaramatu Pasada. And this particular sutta dwells about a woman, how a household woman is actually developing her qualities, not merely the household skills, necessary household skills, but even the spiritual qualities, whatever she has to accomplish. Now, actually, as I mentioned, Vishaka is the foremost female lay supporter of the Buddha. As you know, there is another a male foremost male supporter, that is the Anathapindika, or simply known as Sudatta. And from the other side, from women's side, this Visakha is the foremost female lay supporter. And then, as I mentioned, it is addressed to household life, not to the monastic life, but to the household life. And emphasis is on harmony, responsibility, and spiritual growth. So the spiritual growth is not something neglected, even though the household life is there. That this housewife is someone who has so many other work to do, lot of responsibilities, but still the spiritual growth is not neglected. So that we can see in the coming slides. And here we can see in this presentation, the Buddha actually divided the whole growth or the success into two areas. The victory in the present world. So as you know, as a mother, as a wife, that the whoever that lay follower has certain responsibilities. As a housewife, as a wife, as a mother. So all that she has to accomplish in a better way so that then only everything becomes smooth, calm, and sort of progressive. On the other hand, she can't neglect the future world as well, the next life as well. So therefore, the spiritual growth is also another aspect she has to pay attention. Now, if we consider first about the present world, how one would be successful in the present world. And here, four qualities are given for household life that a housewife has to sort of develop, has to accomplish. First is called capability in work. Next, the management of domestic helpers, agreeable conduct toward the husband, and then safeguarding of wealth. So we'll go one by one. The capability in work, kammanta kusala. Now, probably most of you are housewives, even in the today's gathering. And you know that there are a lot of responsibilities there as a mother, as a housewife. And so you know that you may be spending fair amount of time in doing that, accomplishing that. You are sometimes tired of that. So many complaints are also there. So this is something that Buddha understood, and he therefore giving certain instructions to make it more successful. And here we can see, so the capability in work. So whatever work it may be. So diligent in household duties. And probably you have to look after your children, you have to prepare the meals, you have to clean the house, arrange things in proper order. So many such activities are there. So therefore, you have to be diligent in all that. So you can't sleep for a long time and then neglect all that. So you have to wake up and you have to do all that. So it's a sort of responsibility in your side. And then, so while you are doing that, you have to make use of certain upaya. Upaya means here kind of appropriate means. So what is the kind of appropriate means that you are using to implement all these activities? So in that sense, you have to be again skillful. So as you are engaging in all these activities, you have to be skillful in doing that, and you have to find out what is the best way of doing it. So that is your own intellect. So basically, you have to use your own wisdom to find out, okay, what is the best way of doing things? An orderly, timely, and responsible action. Say you have children, and so you have to prepare them to send them to the college, and probably you have to participate in their activities, and you have to do that in a responsible way. And also, it has to be quite timely. Otherwise, the kid may miss the bus, kid may be late to the college. So all those are very kind of understandable issues, and you have to be fairly responsible, fairly careful in achieving that. So you know better than me in all these things, so I am not going to elaborate too much about it, but you know that how timely you have to accomplish them, and again how much you have to be responsible on that, because if you miss something, then the kids may be in trouble. And if you miss something, the maybe the husband may be in trouble, because you are quite responsible in achieving all that, and you have to be carefully organize everything. Timely, you have to deliver things, and you need to understand the priorities. So all that becomes a huge amount of responsibility from the housewife side. And here, actually, when you are doing that, so basically, mindfulness and effort are quite important, because if you are unmindful, then you can easily forget things. That's quite understandable. Say, if you are not mindful, completely you are in a dream, then you may definitely forget so many activities that you need to do, and you can't remember where you have kept the things, and you can't remember what are the things ordered today, what are the things lined up today. So likewise, you have to be quite responsible, as well as you have to be mindful in when you are doing it. And again, effort side. So the things may be demanding. The situation may be quite demanding, and and you have to have a lot of energy to accomplish that, because otherwise, if you feel okay lethargic and if you feel lazy, then you can't do it basically. So therefore, from your side, you have to have this upright quality, always you being upright. The house wife has to be always upright, the mother has to be always upright, maybe to motivate the children and to accomplish whatever the household duties, the course. So all that you can't give various excuses. Rather, you have to accomplish them with a lot of vigor, lot of diligence. Otherwise, things may going to fail. So therefore, overall, you can see the capability in work, the kammanta kusala, is something that the housewife, the mother has to have. And in a way, this way she is becoming more confident. And we don't need to think, okay, you are like a servant and I am simply doing so many activities from the morning to the night. So you don't need to think from that angle. Rather, from your point of view, you are developing certain kind of an effort. So effort is something that Buddha highly recommended as a what we call as a enlightenment factor, the virya enlightenment factor. It is not merely that during meditation that you have to balance and maintain the effort, but even in our daily activities, you have to be upright. So there are two sides in the effort, and one side is during this internal, quite spiritual balancing of the faculty of effort, being upright even in the spiritual side. So that is one side. On the other hand, when there is a need that a lot of your effort is required, a lot of your involvement is required, it is quite hard to do, and you need to sort of put a lot of energy into accomplish that. So on such occasions, you have to have a lot of effort. So in that occasion, also you are developing this enlightenment factor called effort, the virya sambhojjhanga. So, therefore, overall, we can make use of this situation to develop mindfulness and again to develop the effort, the sati sambojjhanga as well as the virya sambojjhanga. So, we don't need to think, okay, this is completely isolated things that we are not taking any help to the spiritual side. Rather, we can make use of this opportunity to get some kind of a assistance to our spiritual side as well. Then managing the domestic help. So probably you may have few helpers, and there may be another one to look after the garden, or maybe another one to look after the kids. So depending on the situation, you might have someone, some other helpers, and how to handle them. So that's also not that easy sometimes. And sometimes you might have a sick mother, sick father, and there may be a caretaker to look after him or her. On such situation, you have to play a kind of a managerial role. So, how to look after them, how to assign them the appropriate task, and if there are issues, how to handle them in a more human manner. So, we can see now the housewife is not a mere person who is just preparing the meals. Rather, she is playing a managerial role here. So, how to handle these people who are coming to the house, who are helping the house activities, and maybe looking after someone or doing various other supportive activities at the garden. So you sometimes have to actively do that, participate in that as well, and at the same time you have to manage them properly. And probably you have to pay them whatever they need. So how to handle all that needs fair amount of your proper participation, your proper intellect as a housewife. Now, on the other hand, when you have several workers, you have to be little human about them and how much they need and how much help they need and how much work that you can assign to them. So all that are somewhat you have to maintain a fair amount of empathy in that. Not that you simply take off and put your whole responsibility onto them. Rather, you yourself being participating at the same time taking some help from the others. So handling that situation in a proper manner, in a balanced way. So it requires fair amount of empathy. And on the other hand, now if there are certain other resources, like say you can share certain other already available excess food, or you can share certain other clothes or whatever other belongings with them or any other whoever in need. So in such situation also you have to be fair and again you have to punish that. So here it reflects fair amount of in one sense about the empathy. So you are more careful and you are concerned. You can understand someone's else's emotions. And on the other hand, you are with fair amount of compassion. Because as you know, in the particularly during the Buddha's time, in that society and even sometimes today, the father, the breadwinner is the father. So he is actually busy and he may not be at home and he's going for work and all the household work is handled by the housewife, by the mother. So now we are particularly aiming that group actually. If you are employed, that's a different story. As a housewife, if you are employed, then you are again have other responsibilities as well. But on the other hand, here the scope or the context is very much like the housewife is particularly looking after the household activities, and the father, the whoever the breadwinner of the house is now away from the family, and he may be coming at night or after some time. So that is the sometimes the situation. But during all this time, the mother is the one looking after the whole thing. So that is the kind of situation that we are more trying to explain here. And then agreeable conduct towards the husband. That's another side. So you can't simply handle household work, but there are certain activities, certain situations that you have to look after your husband, and you have to please him, and faithfulness and restraint has to be there. You can't go on other, say, unfaithful activities. So because no one is there, because here it's a kind of an honesty is required, because the husband may be coming late, and you are alone at home, or you simply looking after your children, or you are going out to collect your children from the college, and maybe you are going to the supermarket. So there are sort of possibilities are there to have certain wrong relationships and get involved with certain misdeeds. But here the honesty, your faithfulness, the housewife's faithfulness, the mother's faithfulness is coming to the picture, and kind of commitment to the activities. And again, you are maintaining a kind of a loyal relationship and trustworthy relationship, because in the proper setup, in the common setup, the father, the husband can't actually stay at home and looking after everyone. So he has a lot of responsibilities to look after, to earn and all that in the typical setup. And so the housewife is the one who is looking after all this. So during this time, certain kind of a commitment, faithfulness, and again restraint, all that is required. Because sometimes, say, if you are neglectful, then certain activities may be missed. You can't accomplish that whatever the activity. And on the other hand, if you are not faithful, then you can start various misdeeds. So that's also harmful. So we have to look at all these things when we are considering the situation of a housewife. So therefore, what Buddha recommends here is a kind of a trustworthiness, faithfulness, honesty, and your diligence. So you can see these are not merely materialistic aspects. These are fairly spiritual aspects. Then safeguarding earnings, and assume that the father, the husband, so he may be coming at home and maybe after some time and offer the whole thing to you as a housewife, and then you have the responsibility to handle the money. So how to spend. So if you are spending in a irresponsible way, then everybody is in trouble. If you are spending in extravagant way, then everybody is in trouble, because the whole month you have to support the family. The children's needs are there, husband's needs are there. Maybe you have to give something to the temple, to the whatever the other religious activity, or maybe a friend is coming and asking some support. So many responsibilities are there, but you have very limited resources, limited amount of money. So how to handle that properly? So here also you have to be quite honest, and you have to be careful, and shouldn't do any kind of waste or theft, or get involved with any kind of extravagance. And here kind of encouragement to a responsible stewardship. Support stability and generosity. And in one sense, stability has to be concerned, because you are not maintaining a kind of extravagant way. On the other hand, you have to maintain kind of a generosity as well. So balancing this is the most critical thing. So how not to be miserly, and on the other hand, how not to be extravagant. How to have this balance. Say you are spending necessary amount, not to misuse, not too extravagant, and on the other hand, you are having certain amount of generosity as well. If someone is in need and your friend is coming and asking and say you have to donate something, still you are ready to donate. Because most of the time, the housewife is the one actually looking after the family. So if a monk coming on village Pindapata, so you are the one going and offering some food. You are the one going and offering some whatever the other materialistic thing. Maybe you are the one participating in the whatever that religious place needs. Because the husband may be busy. So these are quite relevant and practical situations. So the mother, the housewife is in that sense having the whole responsibility of the whole family. And then the other world side. Now this is the spiritual part Buddha encourage. So here four qualities are encouraged: Saddha, Sila, Chaga, and Panya. Saddha, the faithfulness. Now here the faith, not particularly to the materialistic or any other thing, rather to the faith in Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. So you are a faithful person. So you believe about the Buddha's qualities, and you know that he is an accomplished person and he is a fully enlightened person, and so you have read about him and you have learned about him. You are trying to develop the qualities of the Buddha. So basically, in that direction, you have certain understanding about his teaching, the Dhamma, and again the followers of the Buddha, the Sangha. And so these three areas, Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, you have certain amount of faith. And Panya, on the other hand, the wisdom part is the other side you are balancing. So from wisdom, you are actually learning how to penetratively look at things. Now, say for example, in meditation, so we are developing mindfulness, and then as a result of the developed mindfulness, we have fair amount of concentration. And using that concentration, you are actually trying to understand how things are arising and passing away. Now, this is a fairly deep knowledge. It is not the beginner's task. It is something that someone would do with a lot of effort. So therefore, we can see this faith part is confidence in the Buddha. So he is the Arahant, he is the fully enlightened person. Not just as a blind belief, rather, you are also trying to develop these qualities. So that's why the difference between certain other religions and the Buddhist teaching is where you are giving the facility, giving the possibility to develop certain qualities. It is not just a blind belief, rather, you can put it into test. You can try it out. You can see whether I too can develop these qualities. We can't say immediately up to the level of the Buddha, but whatever the teaching that he is mentioned to us to develop, okay, monks, you got to develop mindfulness, you got to develop wisdom, you got to develop concentration, you got to develop, say, sila. No, now these things are certain qualities that we have to develop. It is not merely we can merely believe, rather, we actively, practically have to get engaged in certain activities. Then only these qualities are slowly being developed in the mind. So that we need to clearly understand. None of these qualities naturally develop in a way. Rather, we have to put a lot of effort to develop. Now, say for example, mindfulness. So we may have certain amount of mindfulness, but that is not enough, and we might not have any concentration. Our minds may be fairly restless. But how to overcome that restlessness? How to develop mindfulness? So that needs fair amount of strategies, various tools. So we have to use those strategies and tools, and we have to implement that, practically get involved in that. Then only we can understand, okay, now the mind has this particular quality called mindfulness. The mind has a particular quality called saddha, the faith. The mind now is capable of avoid any restless behavior and maintain its tranquility. So these are something that we have to practically experience. It is not that we are always talking about it, reading about it, listening about it. Rather, we have to enjoy that. Say, for example, about the samadhi, the tranquility of the mind. So, as we are progressing, we should be able to enjoy the tranquility of the mind. It is not something merely hypothetical. So, it is entirely a practical quality. So, as we develop mindfulness, as you progress, one day you may feel okay, mind is calm now. It is there is no restlessness, at least for a certain period of time. I can maintain my attention continuously on breathing. I can maintain my attention continuously on rising and falling. I can maintain my attention continuously during the walking. So that may be the beginning. But as we further progress, I can maintain mindfulness continuously on a particular given object without any distraction. I can walk several rounds in the walking path without much distraction. So, likewise, so we ourselves should be able to experience that. It is not a mere hypothetical situation, rather, we ourselves are enjoying these qualities. So, that's why the Buddha's teaching is something that we can put it into practice. Then, moral discipline, of course. So, we are supposed to observe five precepts as lay people. So, not killing, not stealing, not engaging in the sexual misconduct, not lying, and not taking any intoxicants, drugs, and other liquor, etc., which can make the mind restless and neglectful, heedless. Now, so the five precepts are the moral standard that Buddha recommend for lay people, and so this becomes a kind of a foundation for our spiritual growth. So the sila is very much like a foundation for the spiritual growth. Then generosity, chaga. As I mentioned, now assume that the housewife is the one handling the money and she is the one holding the money and she knows only very little amount is available. Have to look after the children, you have to pay other bills, and there may be repairs, and time to time you have to give some money to the husband and he himself is spending, and all that hard to be somehow accomplished. At the same time, how to be generous. So these are in a way sometimes debatable things, conflicting things. Sometimes you have to support the charity, maybe some charity work. At the same time, you have to look after the family. So how to balance? So generosity, if not present, you become more miserly, and you are not ready to support anything. You are only looking after yourself. Then that also doesn't make you happy, because generosity is making you happy. So once you give something to a charity, or once you give something to a poor person, to a beggar, or whoever asking some need, some help, and you feel internally sort of happy, okay, you are, even though you have little, still you are able to share that. It may be not only money, it may be certain other food or any other requisite, or maybe your time, maybe your advice, maybe your company, maybe your company. So likewise, there are various things that you can share with the others, and therefore generosity is another area that the housewife have to have. And sometimes Buddha call it as kind of an open-handedness, joy in giving and sharing, and not stingy. So you are ready to share. And wisdom. Now, this wisdom, as I mentioned, is not a very little, very narrow kind of a wisdom here Buddha mentioned. Rather, he has given a fairly high standard where the insight into arising and passing away. Udayattagaminiya panyaya samannagato ariyaya nibbedikaya. So this is how it defined. Udayattagaminiya panyaya samannagato. So this the knowledge of arising and passing away is not a beginner's knowledge actually. And you can't immediately accomplish that. First of all, you need to develop mindfulness. So mindfulness will pave the way to develop concentration. And once mindfulness and concentration are available, then you can learn how to develop the wisdom part, the insight, the vipassana practice. So as you are developing vipassana practice, one day you may be able to understand this arising and passing away. So that's why I mentioned it is not just the beginning. We can say you need to develop certain amount of mindfulness and concentration, and using which you may be able to see how various elements characteristics. Say for example, this the form aggregate Rupakhanda, Buddha say consisting of four elements: the earth element, water element, air element, and fire element. Now, when you have mindfulness and concentration, you may be able to experience these elements, these element characteristics. Now, say for example, the earth element. It shows certain characteristics: hardness, softness, roughness, smoothness, heaviness, lightness. So these are the earth characteristics. Then movement, vibration. Now these are the air characteristics. Heat and cold are the heat characteristics, the tejo dhatu characteristics. And the fluidity and the cohesion are the characteristics of the water element. Now, these characteristics we should be able to recognize, we should be able to experience through our mindfulness and concentration. That is where we are very much like stepping into vipassana. So, that may be very much like the first stage. So, how to abandon various conceptualized world or conceptual proliferations and calming down the mind, tranquilizing it. And not only that, now you are aware of ongoing element characteristics. You're capable of keeping a very refined attention to these changing qualities. So as you are continuing that, one day you may be able to understand, okay, there is certain common characteristics to all these four elements. So the earth element also show the impermanent nature. The air element also show the impermanent quality. The heat element also shows the impermanent quality. So likewise, you are understanding the impermanence through these elements meditation. At that level, we can say you are understanding the arising and passing away quality of the Rupa Khanda, of the form aggregate. Assume that you are practicing Vedananupassana. So you are now capable of observing different kinds of feelings. So rather than being driven by happiness, pleasurable feelings, or being repelled by painful feelings, and being ignorant by equanimous feelings, they are capable of understanding as they truly are. When there is a painful feeling, you are able to understand it is a painful feeling. When there is a pleasurable feeling, you are able to understand it is a pleasurable feeling without being attracted to it, without asking, without wanting it. Rather, you merely understand, okay, it is merely a pleasurable feeling. Similarly, when there is a equanimous feeling, similarly, you are able to understand it is a merely equanimous feeling. So that is the first entrance to Vedananupassana, I would say. And later, as you are further observing it, you may understand, okay, these all the different kinds of feelings are subjected to arising and passing away. It's another level of understanding, not immediately. So you can't have this understanding of impermanence unless you recognize different feelings as they truly are. So feelings are merely feelings. So it is not your feeling, it is not that I am happy, it is not that I am suffering. Rather, there is a pleasurable feeling. Rather, there is a painful feeling. So likewise, you are sort of developing this correct perspective. So once you have this correct perspective, then you are able to understand So what is the characteristics of impermanence? So this is how slowly you are getting to the understanding of arising and passing away knowledge, and it is actually leading to the destruction of suffering. So it's that's why it is not a beginner's practice. It is a something advanced, where as you develop this understanding, so most of the suffering now become less and less. Your mind become more mature. You can bear certain difficulties. You have a lot of endurance. So likewise, certain spiritual qualities are now being very much supported as a result of this wisdom practice. Now, as a concluding reflection, now we can see, so Buddha hasn't neglected the spiritual side. Also, he hasn't neglected the household side, the worldly side. So, kind of a harmony between the spiritual side as well as the worldly side. Because this is not targeted to a nun. You can understand, okay, this is not a targeted teaching to a nun. This is a targeted teaching to a household person, housewife, a mother. And Buddha didn't ask her to come and become a nun either. Sometimes people are taking from a wrong angle. Okay, we can't practice Buddha's teaching. Okay, for every time you have to become a nun, you have to become a monk, and lay people can't practice. So these are, in a way, kind of wrong perceptions. And Buddha didn't basically force the people to become monks and nuns. Rather, it's a choice. And there are enough people who, as lay followers, who practice really well. Now, you know that this Visakha, she has 20 children and she lived for 120 years, and she has built this Vigara's mansion, and she is the foremostly female devotee. And there are instances that she even participate in the Sangha matters, and she come and inform certain incidents to the Buddha, and accordingly certain precepts, Vinaya rules are also being established. You can see in the Vinaya Pitaka. And sometimes her participation was there even when a kind of a decision to be made regarding a bhikkhuni situation. There is a situation during the nuns nunnery, and at that time Buddha actually take the support from Visakha, because Visakha is showing her not merely the generosity but her wisdom, how wise she is. And on the other hand, when she is becoming generous, and then Buddha is asking, why Visakha, you are generous? What is the purpose? Actually, at one occasion, she is asking 8 boons from the Buddha. And immediately Buddha say, no, I am not giving any boons to any lay person, as I'm not supposed to do that. So why you are asking these kind of 8 boons? And then she is giving a very beautiful explanation, and ultimately Buddha say, okay, I like to give that. So one thing, I am just sharing a couple of other things where Visakha is telling Bante, I need to offer porridge every day to all the monks whenever they want porridge. So you can come, and those monks can come and uh, collect the porridge. So that is one thing that as a boon. So at Visakha's place, porridge is available every day. Whoever in need of porridge, any monk, any nun, they can come and get the porridge. So that is one boon that she is asking. Then whenever new coming monks are there, nuns are there, so they may not know the places to go on Pindapata. And there may be wrong routes, or there may be bad places to go on Pindapata. So the newcomers don't have much understanding about it. So therefore, please ask them to come to my house. My house has dana, the alms available for these newcomers. Till they get familiar with the place, so, okay, please ask them to come to my house for dana. So that is another boon. And then there may be people who are going away from this Savatthi. So they may get late if they are going on village Pindapata. So they may want to leave the place early. So they want to collect some food and they may be eating while they are traveling. So please ask them also to come to my house. I am ready to give dana to those leavers who want to go quickly or they have other urgent tasks, another responsibility to attend. So they can't go on village Pindapata. So please ask them to come to my house. I am ready to offer them dana. That's another boon. And similarly, she is telling if there are any sick monks, so they can't go on village Pindapata. So they are not ready and they are maybe weak. They may be weak to go on long distance. So please ask those sick monks, sick nuns also to come to my house. I am ready to give dana to them. That's another boon. And there may be the supporters of the sick monks. There may be attendants, the supporters of the sick monks, and they have to look after these sick monks and sick nuns. So, and they can't go on village Pindapata because it may be too hard for them. So those attendants, please ask them to come to my house. I am ready to give them support. And likewise, Visakha is asking very beautiful request from the Buddha, what we call as the eight boons from the Buddha. And later, Buddha is asking, okay, Visakha, if I provide you all this, so what is the gain for you? And she's telling very beautiful story there. And she's telling Bante, now at any particular monk, if any particular monk later I understand, okay, that monk has become an arahant, he may be living not in the Savatthi but at a very different place. But now I heard the message that he has become an arahant. Now I inquire from other monks, Bante, is that particular Bante has ever come to Savatthi? And then they say, yes, yes, they have come to Savatthi. Then I know very well, okay, as a newcomer to Savatthi, definitely he might have come to my house. I have offered some dana to him. Okay, whenever he is leaving my house, probably he has come to my house to get some dana during the last day. Or whenever he is a sick monk, assume that while he was here, he became sick. At that time, probably he might have come to my house. Probably his attendants might have come to my house. At least he might have come to get some porridge to my house. So likewise, when I am thinking like that, lot of happiness is arising in my mind, lot of joy arising in my mind. So that joy actually helped me to develop concentration. And that concentration helped me to understand this arising and passing away of the whatever the phenomena. So likewise, see, beautifully connect this generosity, all these eight boons to her spiritual practice. Now you can see it's a kind of a bridge between the materialistic aspect and the spiritual aspect. So Visakha is so talented how to use generosity in order to accomplish her spiritual goal. So that's a beauty here. It is not mere support of the others, but she is supporting herself as well. And that's the important aspect here we can understand. So Visakha, in that sense, is a quite an intelligent woman. So not only that she is generous, not only that she is supporting materialistically, but she is using all these situations, all these occasions to support her as well. And she herself is a stream winner. And therefore we can understand so how to handle a particular situation so that the both parties are successful, not only the materialistic side, not only the household side, but even the spiritual side. Okay, that's what I like to share with you today. And now I like to open the session for questions.
Bante,
Yep.
I got some questions through the Google form. Can I please share them?
You can read them, Shalika.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Bhante. The first question.
Can't hear you. Is it a problem in me? Can you hear me? I can't hear you.
I'm not mute.
Now I can. Yes.
You can hear me, right, Bhante?
Yes, yes. Now correct. Yeah.
Okay. The first question, Vipassana is so against the grain. It makes me
Mhm.
feel that I'm in a different tribe than most of my fellow Buddhists who focus on say Sila, Metta, or Samatha. Most of the time, I don't care, but there are times where I feel lonely, as if on a deserted island. What is your advice for dealing with this? Thank you.
Yeah. I feel it is a kind of a balance. So we already discussed a little bit today. So how to balance these two sides? So the social side of our life and the spiritual side. So now certain people are actually talking. They say, okay, Bante, I have to attend to a party. My husband requests me to come to a particular occasion. My children wants me to come with them to a particular occasion. But I am a practitioner. So how to handle it? I don't really have an interest to go there. But there is an occasion, there is a movie I have to go just to satisfy my kids. So likewise, there are certain situations that people are going through. Even though now you don't have much of an interest on these activities, but sometimes we have to do it just to maintain the integrity of the family and just to maintain the relationship. So all that are there for us to look after. So how can we use that opportunity also to develop the mind in a way? Now, say for example, when we are living in a community, as a member of the family, as a member of a team, as a member of a particular company, a member of a monastery, whatever. Now, every time we can't say everybody else have to behave the way I want, because I have a lot of colleagues and I have others to look after, and I have to look at their from their own angle. On such situations, sometimes you have to adjust yourself. So for the betterment of the situation, for the harmony of the situation, the harmony of the sangha, the harmony of the community, harmony of the family. So therefore, sometimes there are instances that Buddha encourage this harmony, sometimes even more than the practice. Now, say for example, when an arahant is in Nirodha Samapatti, and Buddha say, okay, you can dwell there, but in case there is a sangha need, you should come. You can't just spend in your lonely aloneness or this seclusion. If there is a need, okay, you have to give up that and you have to come. So there is a vinayakam, there is a kind of a uh, monastic activity, urgent activity is there, and you are supposed to participate. And you can't simply say, okay, I'm an arahant, I have to spend some time in Nirodha Samapatti, and it's okay, don't disturb me. So it is not allowed. So you can see it's a kind of a balancing between both sides. So it is not that every time you are looking after others and neglecting your spiritual side either. So how to balance this social aspect as well as the spiritual aspect? So it's a challenge actually. It's not easy. It's a kind of a challenge. So how to choose? And in one sense, we have to use common sense. So at this particular time, what would be the most appropriate decision to take? If I am not going to this party, what would be the repercussion? If I'm going to the party, what are the repercussions? So, can I go to the party as well as look after myself without engaging too much in the gossip, too much into the, any other politics or any other thing which may be harmful, but just to present there and just to cordially spend some time and maybe look at the mind and how the interaction would affect the mind And how long will it take to recover from that little bit of restlessness? After coming back home, how long will it take to settle back to my normal spiritual side? So all are in a way certain test platform for us to look at the practice. Because sometimes we overestimate about ourselves. Okay, we think, okay, now I have no lustful thoughts at all. I have no angry thoughts at all. But when you are really in a situation, then you can understand, okay, still there are lustful thoughts. Still there are thoughts of ill will. You might have to put yourself into a situation, then only you may understand, okay, still certain latent tendencies are prevalent in the mind. So both sides are there. So I'm not encouraging you to participate each and every party and completely destroy your spiritual side. But you have to be little careful in choosing. At the same time, you have to be careful in maintaining a social life, not to become a completely isolated and completely feeling lonely and say uh, kind of an outcast type of a person. It is not the aim of the practice. How to balance these? Now, as I mentioned even today, so the Visakha's example is a really good example. She is giving a good role model, and being a mother, being a housewife, and even being a grandmother, and again being uh, the foremost female devotee, and how she has managed her life as a really intelligent woman.
Thank you, Bante. Uh, okay, we have like a hand raise. One second. Someone, Samanthi, yeah, you can ask your question.
Avsarai Bhante.
Yeah.
May I share my life experience if it's okay?
Yes, yes.
Yes, when I started practice and when I was going through that, because I felt it was very important for me, so I was much more attentive about mindfulness practice and engaging with master training programs. And then it was a problem for my husband once. He was
Mhm,
feeling like I'm going away from the family matters.
mhm,
I'm taking care of those activities than the family. Like then he asked me to stop all those. Then I
mhm.
talked to Lokuswami Hansen. Then I got the advice. Yes, stop now. You stop all
Aha,
practice outside, but do it inside. So I
correct.
did it. So Swami Hansen, I practice myself. I didn't show that I'm doing it. But it was so wonderful, Swaminathan. I got a big issue. Not it was not an issue for me, but for the other people. Once I was practicing with other people, with our another lay person. So people usually make stories. So such a story
Mhm.
was formed for me as well. Then I know
Aha,
about myself. Then at that point, Swaminathan, my husband knew that I am not a such person. So it
right.
helped
Mhm,
me to save my life, family life.
mhm.
And
Correct.
he trusted me well because he knew that I'm practicing.
Mhm,
Then it was really wonderful, and I'm very grateful to that for giving me you, Bhante, also my teacher. I'm very
mhm,
respectful for that and thankful for that. So I use it in my life.
mhm. Yeah, that's really
Thank you so much.
interesting. So, actually, as Lokusananse has, categorically mentioned, so when things go imbalance, you have to look after that side. So that means we are leaning too much onto this. So he didn't ask you to come and become a nun. Rather, he asked you to look after the family now. So that's the best solution that I am also thinking, because sometimes people going too much, and they very much like get into a trouble in the family life, and then it's a burden to the others, and they are not talking, and they are not fulfilling the family activities and neglecting the responsibilities. That is also not the way to do it. And it's a kind of a balanced approach, as I already mentioned today, the whole presentation. So how to balance our materialistic worldly family life with the spiritual life? It is not totally neglecting the spiritual life either. So that's the beauty of the Buddha's teaching. So while looking after the family, how to address the spiritual need also, how to maintain certain amount of spiritual growth, and how to make use of the family matters even to for the development of the spiritual qualities. As I mentioned, as you also now mentioned, now spiritual qualities are actually guarding us, protecting us against certain say someone else's accusations, because our family members start understanding, okay, this person is more inclined towards this sort of a say spiritual growth. Not everybody is inclined towards that, and certain honesty is required, certain maintaining moral conduct is required, and you can't practice without such a a very good moral foundation. So when the family members really understand that, and they start trusting you, and that is much much important than telling 100 words and all, and try to convince, because they have observed you as a person, okay, how you are behaving, what are your inclination, what are your needs, what are your interests. All that represent certain spiritual aspects. Now say for example, certain women are there, they're asking so many materialistic aspects and never ending sometimes, but certain other person not much interest into that. I mean, looking after the family and all that is there, certain contentment is there, and other needs, some spiritual needs are there. Okay, shall I go to the monastery and participate in a retreat? Shall I go and observe 8 precepts? So these are taking you to a different direction, and then the husband may understand, okay, she is having a different interest. She haven't gone too far either. She haven't neglected the house, she haven't neglected the family matters, she haven't neglected the children, but time to time she is taking a break. Okay, I better allow her. So kind of a mutual understanding is there, and help both parties to balance, because sometimes every day continuously involving so much of home activities, family activities, also a kind of a burden. You need a pause, you need a break sometimes. You need to calm down yourself, you need to completely relax yourself. Otherwise, you may go through a kind of a burnout. So that's why the spiritual practice really help us to reduce the daily stress. So during the day, there is a certain amount of stress being built up due to certain various activities, and how to release that stress. Because sometimes people release that through the husband, through the children, isn't it? Because you don't know how to release the stress, and ultimately children are the ones who who get offended. Husband is the one get offended. These things are also quite common. But if you know as a housewife how to release the stress, and while maintaining the family responsibilities, how to again and again ground yourself, release the stress, and maintain that quite harmonious abiding in the house. So that is really a growth, not only to you, as in general, to the whole family.
My son has.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have a Kamtahan report as well, a little. Is it okay?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Saminhas, I did a walk-in before the session. Saminhas, now I feel that the touch between the foot and the ground, but now the touch is just a touch only. It's not feeling about the ground because of my the skin under sole is hotter than the ground.
No.
That's why I feel it's cool,
Mhm.
and it's softer than the ground. That's why I feel that's
Hard.
hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I just felt that, Swamina. So I didn't
Correct.
want to give any names to the feelings. I
Yeah.
just
No
felt it
need.
only.
Yeah, no need to give names, and your observation also quite valid. because our observations are always kind of relative. Now, all
Amen.
our measurements are quite relative. This is a quite a deep aspect. So that's why our mind is continuously in a kind of a measurement, kind of a measuring process. So when we
Amen.
conceptualize ourselves as a person, as a mother, as a wife, as a brother, as a father, as a monk, whatever, so then naturally I am comparing myself with another person. That's the sole reason for the conceit, for the mana. The same thing is common for our sense interaction with the outside world. When I am interacting, when my foot touches the ground, so compared to my previous experience, how about this touch sensation? Is it cold or is it warm? Is it hard or is it soft? Is it rough or is it smooth? So we say something is long compared to what is available right now. Maybe it is short. Now I am saying, okay, it is long. Compared to something, it is always a kind of a relative explanation, relative expression. We have certain kind of a measurement and we have certain kind of a margin. And with respect to that, is it cold? Is it warm? Is it long? Is it short? Is it better? It is bad. So therefore, it is a ongoing process. Assume about a day that you lose this measuring process.
Yes, Swami
Say you
Hansa.
are simply experiencing, merely experiencing. Okay, it's a mere experience, and the mind is not jumping into measure, jumping into sort of give judgment. Rather, non-judgmentally, fairly smoothly, merely experience. Actually, we can't immediately achieve it without rather going through this measuring process. So therefore, I don't want to ask you to jump to that immediately. Rather, the practice slowly take us to that. So if necessary, definitely you have that skill to measure and get a relative understanding. At the same time, if necessary, once you switch to that non-grasping kind of a stage, okay, mind merely experience without labeling it, without judging it. That's a advanced aspect of mindfulness practice, how to non-judgmentally experience a certain experience.
Amen, Swami Hansa. Amen. Even for the feelings and thoughts,
Yeah,
we are just giving names for them, but it's just a feeling.
exactly, exactly.
Amen.
As you are now continuing, so when the mind doesn't want to give any name, any label, don't bother to give it. Allow the mind to mere experience. Because
Amen, Swami.
we are moving more and more towards the simplicity where mind stops this labeling, mind stops this giving whatever the names, and it's become a mere experience. Mind become more and more calm, more and more cool, more and more tranquil, and mere experience will go through.
Amen. Amen, Swami Hansa.
Okay,
Swami
yeah.
Hansa, Nirvana, Mother,
Okay,
may
okay.
successful. Tera,
Thank you, Samanthi, for your sharing your life experience. It's going to be very helpful for a lot of mothers and wives. Thank you. So, Ashini, you can unmute and present your question.
Teruවන් සරණයි ස්වාමීන් වහන්ස.
Oh, Teruwan Sannai.
ස්වාමීන් වහන්ස, I thought of studying communication skills because
Mm-hmm.
I don't have much friends. That means I don't have many friends. That means I have only about 2 or 3 noble friends whom I contact very rarely in order to get some advice. Apart from that, normal friends who other regard as friends, I don't have such friends. Actually, I have,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't
Ah.
talk with them. That means I don't
Mm-hmm.
keep contact with them. Only on their birthdays I greet them, that's all. And they are not
Mm-hmm.
angry, but they also don't call me. So I thought it might be a problem with my communication skills, perhaps. But the other thing is, I don't have anything to talk with them also. So they must have understood that. And even when they talk about their husbands and children and all those. So I don't
Mm,
have those things to talk with them. Maybe that can be the reason, because all of my friends are married. So
mm,
I they will may be finding nothing to talk with me. But in
mhm,
my side, only I can do what I can do is that I can practice communication skills. And I don't know whether Obahanse will give me permission, or Obahanse will give me encouragement for that, because sometimes it might lead to unwanted relationships also, like with them even.
mhm,
Now I am
mhm,
peaceful in this manner, but others
mhm.
observe me as an isolated person and doing meditation and certain amount of remote work only. So
Mhm.
as Vahanse knows about me for a long time, what would you suggest as the best thing that I should do, Swamina?
I feel that you may get spiritual friends slowly as you slowly open to the that community. Because sometimes now, as you correctly mentioned, so only a group of people are more inclined towards this practice, and others are fully engulfed in the worldly things. And so sometimes we have to encourage that spiritual side. And while you are doing that, while you are going through that, slowly, slowly, some same minded people will contact you. Same minded people will slowly attract it to you. So we don't need to hurry in getting attracted or getting engaged or communicating with them or finding friends. Let it happen naturally. So as you are continuing the practice, as you are moving in this path, slowly, whoever in the same track, whoever in that same category, slowly will come to you with time. Now, I think you are engaging with some teaching, right? Certain to some children that you are teaching. And that means certain kind of a communication is going on, and you are also doing some service. And slowly, slowly, among them, among these children, there are ones who will attract to you, who will come and talk to you, who will come and share their own very secrets and very personal things with you because they start trusting you. So likewise, certain communication is happening, relationships are there, and I feel better open to that sort of a relationship rather than asking any uh, purposeful type of a relationship at this time.
So thank you for that advice. And as you have mentioned, it is quite obvious to me, because there are few students in my classes, and one girl named Sydney, she said in front of her mother even, "Anne, teacher, I love you so much, I will never leave you," like that. And her mother was also her mother was also very happy. And when something happens at her place, she comes and tell me. And the other
Yeah,
girl
exactly.
named Danuki, she tells
Uh,
everything which happens at home, even some personal things, even she tells me. And like that,
correct. Yeah,
very
that's the thing.
friendly.
Exactly. So that's why I
And
mean,
I I
the
prefer
children.
their I prefer their company than the old people's ones, because
Exactly,
older people
exactly.
are
So
all
don't worry.
negative most of the time, and the younger
Yes,
people are very positive all the time. It seems to me like.
exactly. Exactly. So I really love that answer because that is why actually Bhante Dhammaji also tells the same story because children are so beautiful. They don't have much, that fixations in their minds. They are quite open. They are quite positive. Their minds are quite curious, energetic. So these are actually necessary spiritual qualities. What happened to the adults is with time they corrupt their minds. They have a lot of judgments and they start condemning others and they start, all those kinds of fixations are there in the mind, then it's very difficult. So that's why, on the other hand, children are quite open, they are energetic, and all that openness is there. So therefore, just keep going on that you are with good friends.
Swaminathan, by the way, there's something I would like to tell you, Swaminathan. That is, Swaminathan, the other thing is that when I'm with older people, they are talking about negative side of the life all the time, or TV or radio news, or something bad which has happened to them in the past, and or something bad which is going to happen in the future. So actually, this situation which I am facing is happening to me in a serious way, maybe because Swaminathan, I was going to meditation from the age of 14, and from that time onwards, of course, I was isolated because in my school and in the places where I go, in the university even, there was not a single student or a friend of mine who was meditating. So they all kept me in a distance because I was much more adhere to adhere to this. That means.
Yeah, yeah. So basically, you don't need to tell them, but slowly continue the path. And time to time, they also may come to the path at other instances, because you know that not everybody is interested on spiritual side at the same level, at the same age. Different people come into the spiritual side at different ages. Sometimes they have, but they don't have time, they have other commitments, other priorities. But with time, they also now come and they also greet you, they also contact you, and they also ask what you are doing. And I am in a trouble, can you help me? Likewise, these things are happening in a more natural, gradual way. So I feel that just continue. I mean, these are quite common things. These are not unique to you either. These are kind of common things among the spiritual groups.
The final thing I want to ask you, Swaminathan sir, there's a major fault in me, that is I don't like to talk with a person even for few minutes. If
Why
it
is
is
that?
not aligning with Dhamma, that is the
Ah.
problem. These normal day-to-day small talks, those kind of things, I don't appreciate that. Then
Mhm.
at that moment, my mind says, these are very useless things, waste of time. Go and read a book, or go and listen to a Dhamma, go and meditate. Like that, my mind is torturing me. So
Okay.
when when other people, now I like to talk with the noble friends I have. Apart from that, if another person is talking about something which related to unwanted things, then my mind says this is very useless, like that. I don't
Okay.
know
Yeah.
whether it's because of the practice I do from the young age, because I
Yeah.
am used to this life for a long time now, but now I can't change it also.
No, no. Thing is, the practice will evolve to a level that you can bear that, and again you can include that. So don't worry. For the time being, what you are doing is correct, and you just continue the same thing. But one day you may come and tell, okay, Bante, now I like to be with my friends. I like to go on a trip or something like that. Now I feel more comfortable. I feel more kind of accepting and something like that. So it is something happening in the path. It is not that every time you are in a very strict, very selective kind of a path. Rather, as you are growing in the path at another level, you can include others, you can accept others, you can accompany others, and you can open to the situations, and you become more sort of courageous, and you are more accepting. So these sort of things are happening, but for the time being, I prefer you continue the same thing as you are doing right now. No need to
Swaminathan
change.
sir, actually, I will report to you about my progress, and then Vahansi will see my progress in the future, because I always keep in mind whatever the advice you say and practice it, and add that into my mind. I hope that my life will change in the good manner. Thank you very much,
We'll
Swaminathan.
see.
Theron
We'll
Sarnai.
see. Yes, yeah. Yeah. Teran Sarnai.
Welcome you, Swaminathan.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Ashwini, and thank you, Bante. There is another question. Kusum, you can unmute yourself and present the question.
Thank you so much, Shalika. Venerable Bante, I have a very small question. May I know the sutta name that you were talking about in the Anguttara Nikaya Attaka Nipata?
Today? You mean today? Give me a minute. It's Anguttara Nikaya 849, the woman of the home. I need to find it. 849. The name of the sutta is called Patama Idalokika Sutta. Patama Idalokika Sutta. You got the point? So the first
Sorry.
the first
Yeah. Thank you so much, Bante. Patama,
okay.
it is in Anguttara Nikaya Attaka
Angut
Nipata.
Patama Pannasaka. Yeah, Patama Pannasaka. Uposatha Vagga.
Posata Vagga. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Many
Okay.
merits, Bante. Thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah.
Bante, we have actually a few more questions. Do you have time to take a couple of more questions?
Okay, we can spend 10 more minutes
Okay,
because
Bante.
I have to conduct the one day retreat today.
Okay.
So maybe 5-10 minutes maximum.
Okay, Bante. Yeah, we can save the rest for the next session.
Mhm.
What is the root cause of fear? What brings the end of fear?
Mhm. Actually, fear has a big relationship with our I making. We have a self. We believe there is a self here. There is a person here, and I have to look after that self. I have to look after myself. So that the sense of I is a big contributor towards the fear. Because if there is a person here, there is an individual here, there is myself here, I always have to look after myself. I also have to safeguard myself. And on the other hand, fear is a component attributed to the anger. So that's sometimes difficult to understand. So the dosa and fear are somewhat related. So therefore, it is mentioned whenever someone has become an anagami, non-returner, dosa is completely abandoned. The hatred, the patiga is completely abandoned. So therefore, he doesn't have any fear. So those are the other sides that I like to share with you. And again, as I mentioned, main contributor of fear is our Sakkaya Ditthi. That I believe there is a person here, I strongly adhere to that. And that Sakkaya Ditthi makes me quite frightened whenever there is a threat towards myself.
Okay, Bante. Thank you very much. I will ask a question. I think this question is you may have to give is a maybe a short answer. If a wealthy person gives something that has little value to them but is valuable to a recipient, and the poor person gives something that is very valuable to them without any expectations and solely for the benefit of the recipient, wouldn't the poor person act be considered a true renunciation?
Yes, that's a short answer.
Yeah.
Because you know that for the poor person, it's a really large thing. That's a really important, very valuable thing. But from the larger point of view, it's a trivial thing. But for that poor person, it is the most important thing. That's why, I mean, there are instances now, say for example, in Kassapa, in Venerable Maha Kassapa's old stories as a different layperson in his previous lifetimes, and he was listening to the Buddha, and he only had one sartaka, what you call a kind of just one cloth, and he was sharing that with his wife. And when he wants to come out, he's wearing it, and wife is staying at home. And when wife want to come out, wife is wearing it, and this husband is at home. And one day, this person is coming and listening to the Dhamma preached by the Buddha. It is not our Buddha. It's not the Gautama Buddha. It's a different name of the Buddha in a long time. And then while he was listening, he got a kind of a immediate desire to offer that cloth to the Buddha. Then he remembered, oh my goodness, how I can give it to this Buddha, because when I can't, then my wife can't come out. Just one cloth we both are sharing, so how can I give it? So he stopped it. Again, as he is continuing to listen, again he got the desire to offer it. Ultimately, he decided, okay, whatever happened, I am going to offer it. And then he gave it to the Buddha. He offered it to the Buddha, and he victoriously made a kind of an explanation. Okay, I made it. I made it. And then it was heard by the king, and I heard in that story. Then the king intervened, and he offered many clothes and some beautiful stories there. So likewise, so when you have very little thing and it is so important to you, and offering that, giving away that is very difficult, and it's a kind of a victory.
Thank you, Bante. Thank you very much. So I will end the asking questions right now. I will save all the other questions for the next session since you have to leave. Thank you so much for the valuable Dhamma talk today, Bante. And it's really inspiring to see like Visaka's generosity and her wisdom, and reading that Visaka Sutra also, it was very interesting to learn all these things. Thanks very much. Much merits to you. Teruvan
Okay.
Saranai, Bante.
Yeah. Teruvan Saranai.